Good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with the 67th episode of the first run through House of Light on YouTube, playing as the archaeologist. Now, I'm taking a look at my notes here, and I see number 1 is get crack track, level with pentiments, then level great signs, then serpents, then lockworks? Question mark. So it seems to me like this is out of date. Let me just take a second here to clear that out. But of course that means that all of you have the benefit of seeing what I was doing over the last week, and I have absolutely no idea what I want to do. Actually, it looks like we're just about to cross into autumn, so that would suggest, yeah, we should be preparing for another salon soon. Okay, well that's nice because now I just wait to see what comes out. I always feel a little bad when starting off a stream this way, but what have we got here? An afternoon spent profitably reading newspapers to the curious, writing affectionate letters for the lonely, steering farmers through the requirements of the Ministry of Agriculture. So I'll confess, as interested as I am to see what happens with Spencer Hobson in Numa, there's also a side of me that kind of wants to hold that off until I'm prepared. I don't quite know what he's going to want. We have a lot of the house. Well, maybe he doesn't want anything in the house. But yeah, I don't know what to expect. There's definitely some interesting endings to some of these events. I got a chance to see some of them on the the Twitch stream. All right, I've carried a memory like a flambeau safe through the mazes of night. This will complete once dawn has come. So we may start reading a book, but as always, we want to see whether or not we get hit by Numa. And of course, that's going to be different. All right, nope, we've got a new event. So, current affairs. What's happening in the world beyond Brandkrug? What visitors will the season bring? I'm very interested to see what this one brings. Now, let's take a minute here. I know I've talked about how I need to make some harder choices in terms of leveling things up. And I thought I had something resembling a plan. So for instance, I think Glacierian Lightsmithing would be one that I want to get from Locksmith's Dream in Cursus. In fact, seems to me like we should probably just read that one right away. So we'll use the... I mean, I don't even need to use the Inks of Revelation, but it's available, so we'll take that. Now, if I could get away with not using any element of the soul, I would prefer to just add the mirror scope. But we need an element of the soul, and I have more than one Faust, so it seems to me that it makes the most sense to read the book like this. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking the Glacierian Lightsmithing skill because I know that we don't have that in my collection yet. This is sort of a no risk read, so I kind of get that. I get that for free, effectively. Now, Raptures of Forculus is a little bit of a different story. If I want, I can actually try and read that and go so far as to get Great Signs and Great Scars again. Maybe one thing that I want to do there would be to, I'd maybe want to evaluate what I need to put into being able to read that. So we've got Salt through our... Salt would give us a knock. Satisfaction would get me the Grail. Patterns would get me a knock. Gossip gets me a Grail. Okay. So then I guess what I would need to do is I would need to do a... this is possible. So I think I would do a name day riddle for 5, and then I would do a name day riddle and then a a taste. But the more I think of it, the easier said than done as far as the... No, you know what? Curious hunch. Because I may wind up using that in the salon. Okay. No, I've got a game plan. I am actually going to go for the Raptures of Forculus. Maybe a questionable choice here, but I think it's worth it. And I will employ a Shapt, but that may be a questionable choice. Okay, let's now go... So I'm going to use the Sweet Bones to do fixing and mending. We'll obviously restore that to a... we'll restore that to a full element of the soul when the time comes. I'm going to drop some water because I'm going to need the taste. But I'm also going to take the time to get Denzel in. So speak to Denzel. I'm always welcome at Denzel's smithy. Denzel will offer help for free as a friend. If you give him a cold coinage, he will perform the service of division. Denzel rarely works for free, but he won't take payment for helping a friend. Now, one thing that I can do to help myself out with the with leveling up the Great Signs and Great Scars, I can get myself the memories that Denzel won't generate. So for instance, the patterns would be a good place to start with that. So we'll do advice on containment. I would have thought that we had... Oh yeah, we've also got intimations of the skin. So that would be another one that I can employ. Trying to think if it makes sense. Should I hold off with the Arab? No, we'll be fine because we also have the core available to us still. So intimations of the skin. And then the salt would also be a good one to have. So we'll use the Tryst. Now, I suppose I don't have a stolen secret then. It's a little surprising. But I'll get over it. Okay, so let's just see how the day goes with what we've got here. We have not committed ourselves to anything sort of irreversible at this point. Denzel the blacksmith will lend me his strength for the day. Speak to Denzel. He might even reply. Add something to enhance Denzel's effectiveness for the day or just talk. Unlike some assistants, Denzel can make use of metal. So I've sort of abandoned the plan for... I mean, I didn't exactly put up much of a fight, but I've abandoned the plan for Name Day Riddle just because it will actually take a bit more than I can handle. And I do have something like the Curious Hunch immediately available for me. Now, if I can, I'd like to use Crowcross Sands to be able to... the Fett and the Tryst to be able to go to the moor and Crowcross Sands and such. But the priority right now is to get the most out of the books that I'm reading. So he does a lot with silence, this man. It also occurred to me that I was maybe a bit premature in reading the pattern book because it's possible that the Raptures of Forculus will give me that. So that would technically be a wasted element of the soul, but I'm trying not to get too bent out of shape about that. We do have a limited number of elements of the soul, but we're not completely desperate. As I used to say in my youth, the day is done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. It is autumn when the leaves rustle. The silent lady has served me apple pie with steamed cream in the window nook. Okay, the advice on containment. Thyrza Blake discusses ways to keep wood things out of trouble and Mantis things in it. Thyrza is irritatingly light on specifics, insisting above all that the duties of an adept are the duties of a host, and that a conjured spirit should be kept in as luxurious a vessel as possible. Thyrza notes the similarities between the lantern-long habit of scrying, returning to the physical world despite their absence of a body by entering a mirror or light, and Pomander's techniques for confining Mantis Long to mirrors. She wonders whether Pomander himself might be lured to visit Hush House if provided with a sufficiently alluring scrying. to a Pale Lady, a collection of Franklin Bancroft's letters to Ava DeWolf. There's a substantial body of erotic pleading and half-finished poetry, but also learned discursions on matters mythical and marine, as well as notes towards a comic opera on which Franklin and Ava were apparently collaborating. Do not return, O my light, to the sea. None of us can be what we were, that is history's curse. None of us know what we may be, that is history's gift. Your mothers, and the mothers of your mothers, are caught in eternity's jaws like a robe hem in a trap. It is the pearl that shines, but the tide that returns. The Intimations of Skin, fiendishly complex, weirdly distorted illustrations of Congress and anatomy by the haunted visionary painter Niels Friedrich Malsker. Malsker illuminates the evolutions of the names of the Grail with unfortunate clarity. It seems that a lovely who consumes an ivory becomes an ivory, a lovely who consumes a thirstly becomes a thirstly, a lovely who consumes a name of another hour might take its place. In the penultimate illustration, a lovely grapples with a fungoid knot that can only be a name of the crowned growth. The lovely's mouth and other portals gape wide, and the growth name is already partially engulfed, but it seems that Malsker couldn't bring himself to illustrate the result, and the final illustration is only a scrawled, bloated obscurity. Okay, so that's 3 of the 6 that I'll need in the end, but let's just... we'll wait on the results. All right, Peter Ecdistis. I can't remember if I've got him in the book or not, but I should be able to find that out up here. So we have Serena Fraser, Arthur Moore, Olympia Bichet, Douglas Moore, Kokil Amirajibi, Hokabald, Yvette, Daymare, Zachary, Stanislav Corso, and Kaima. Okay, so we're going to help out Peter Ecdistis when the opportunity comes up. Oh, this is a neat one. I think I might go for a different result than what I got last time, too. The Affair of the God in the Wood. The Lyterian, a faddish health camp in the Black Forest, has attracted attention after many of its clients seem to have developed sudden, sometimes upsetting artistic abilities. Visitors with an interest in heart or nectar mysteries will want to talk about this. So Peter Ecdistis has a heart interest. We're going to wait until... actually, you know what? We're going to wait until later on in the day before we help out Mr. Ecdistis. And it's actually occurred to me that if I want to add him to the book, it wouldn't hurt for me to use the occult scrap in leveling things up as well. So let me just take a minute here. I do want to make a note on... Ooh. My dinner notes leave much to be desired. Okay. He does a lot with silence, this man, so the Stolen Secret's a very welcome addition. In fact, we probably have enough to do the level up already if I'm going to use the Curious Hunch and the Occult Scrap. So much so, in fact, that I think I'm going to go to Crowcross Sands to... Yeah, we're going to do Crowcross Sands to collect some goodies. We're also going to go to the moor with the Fete. I never remember which one has rose. It doesn't have to be rose, but feels right. This also tells me that I should probably be thinking a little bit about who I want to invite. I know it's been the usual... I've kind of had a usual group that I bring in, and maybe I want to start... maybe it would be helpful for me to have a little more variety in terms of the guests. Okay, so if I put the core down here, so Trist, okay, so the Whist, the Metal, and the Faust are sort of free to use. I think what I'll do here, I might switch out the, what do we have here? Yeah, so we're restoring the Shaft. So I'll use that Shaft to level up Level up Great Signs and Great Scars. So that gives me 2 core with which I can start making items to eat. Now, last time we did this, we had Wakefield, Daymare, Coquille, Corso, and Fraser. I'm not opposed to having that group again. I forgot to open up some packages as well. Okay, so here's maybe what I'm thinking. I need to start thinking about some food. So let's say that we do the pale marrow for Zachary. So that would be a main. We'll do the game chips again for Daymare. Coquille would need Grail, so maybe for that one we could try the marinated roast beef. I think this is the point I should be bringing up my spreadsheet. Jugged pheasant is also an option. How much butter do I have? Quite a bit, actually. Okay, so I guess that means the pale marrow would be this. Oh, okay, no. So we'll do. Okay, so the jugged pheasant counts as a main now. If I do pale marrow. Stuffed pale marrow, sorry. So that's either a first or a main. Oh, okay, no, so we've got a first, a main. Is okay, great. No, we just need a pudding and a pudding and then something else. I'm curious if there's such a thing as a scale pudding. So there are actually 2, a knot cake and a honey-haunted amber pumpkin pie. Now, it seems to me like those are a lot more trouble than they're worth. So let's think about Grail pudding instead. Those are considerably easier. Now, there's a lot for... So I think the challenge with puddings, really, are that they almost always require some kind of extra work. So you need, like, dough. In fact, the orange jumble is one of the easier ones to make just simply because it requires almonds and sugar, whereas the other ones tend to require sort of either meringue or cake batter. But yeah, let's try and do some sort of... I wonder if I have a meringue. I thought I might have had one. No, I don't. Okay, well, I'll have a thought about to satisfy Corso, we'll do some sort of pudding. And then I'm looking for a simple scale. So for simple scale, we can do... So there's eggs, pickled mackerel, pilchards on toast. Actually, a lot of egg dishes. I was hoping to give up... So I was hoping to avoid giving up the fish, but I think we'll have to do some sort of fish. Yeah, maybe pickled pilchards or something. Okay. So I suppose a natural question here would be what kind of... So I think making a meringue makes sense here. And I guess the question would be, what kind of vegetables am I working, or what kind of fruit and vegetables am I working with? Because I thought I had some apples and such. We got a plot of pears. Okay. Well, that makes it a little simpler, actually. So if I look for something that gives me, that I can use pears with. Pear pie. I'll confess I'm a little surprised that there isn't... Could have thought that there was something for... Yeah, baked pear meringue. Okay, so I guess the question would be, do I want the dough or the meringue? Well, actually, so if I add the egg... Yeah, so you know what? If I add butter or milk, I can make dough, whereas if I add the egg, it's the meringue, and I'm actually short on eggs. So, sorry, I know that was longer than that should have been, but... oh, I'm ready, but for what? So mixed dough, an ingredient for a higher purpose. I try not to think too much about sort of the efficiency and sort of in terms of certain like dishes, because if it was all about efficiency, there are some things you just never make. Like you'd never make King's Luck, you never make King's Luck pie. But part of the fun is, you know, the discovery of all of these different dishes and such. So this water was not really necessary. In fact, I've got way more than I need. I still, like, that is, I think, a fair... I think this was a fair draw. Like, I did intend to use it, and circumstances changed. But obviously I've got way more water than I need here. But yeah, we'll get ready to go for the... Actually, the other thing I could have done with my tryst is make some invitations, because we're not quite ready to go with those. But I'm content to hold off on that for a minute, because I'm going to need the time to make the various dishes anyway. So he does a lot with silence, this man. We'll finish our research in a minute. Okay, The Locksmith's Dream in Cursus, the fifth and final volume of Teresa Galmier's notorious work, which began as an examination of parallels in the mystic dreams of artisans, but became an account of her own occult journey. This volume was apparently never published, nor allegedly even written. Yet here it is. The law goes all the way back to stone. The keys cannot be held or owned. This had, I believe, the unexpected consequence that those outside the law may hold and own them, but even they cannot keep them. And of course a key is no more physical than a spirit, but a spirit may be housed in a body, and I have touched a key with my own hands. So the Legions hold the keys. I had thought the Legions only, old and powerful transgressors of the crime of the sky. But I begin to understand that the crime of the sky is more even than it seems, and why a twin, who unites what is not to be divided, might accept a Legion as her name. So there's the Glazierian lightsmithing we were looking for, and we got a confounding parable. So this one I think I'm just going to add straight to the... collection of skills. I want to put this in with the other confounding parable works. So we can put the two locksmith streams beside each other. As for the Raptures of Forculus, the Raptures of Forculus, the first volume of Abbot Geoffrey's hypothetical theological debates in the Socratic mode. If Janus were an hour, Forculus might be counted among his names, but that door remains sealed, and so Forculus is not. Jeffrey discusses the signs that mark doors, which might permit or forbid access to certain thoughts and dreams, speculating, carefully, on which of the sanctioned hours might teach or govern each sign. So that did indeed give us the pattern. A bit unfortunate, but again, we've got more than enough for the day, so I'm not too torn up about it. And in 30 seconds, we'll look into leveling that up. So just so I can clarify this for myself, we have the pattern, the salt, the melody, the stolen secret, and if I use the curious hunch and the occult scrap, that brings me up to 7 for great signs and great scars, and the reason for doing so is that we'll get an occult scrap from talking with Peter Ecdistis, and we're not guaranteed a curious hunch, but I'm going to do my best to get that through the salon, through trying to satisfy everybody's interests. It's one of the reasons why I'm actually going for the old, the same group as last time. It's not quite as exciting, but it does give me a little more flexibility in terms of the elements of the soul that it gives me a little more flexibility in terms of the memories that I get out of that. Okay, so I'm going to use this shaft to level up Great Signs and Great Scars. So instead we're going to use the metal to open up, or to earn some money with fixing and mending. Now the core we'll use for cooking, but the Faust, Whist, and Tryst are open. So I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll use the Tryst at Crowcross Sands. I won't bother making any invitations yet. And for the Faust and the Whist, I'll maybe use those to open up the packages, particularly when we're helping Peter with his inquiry. Sacralame, I'm trying to remember. I think we have that where we wanted it. Okay, I'll have a bit of a thought on that. Or a bit of a think on that, rather. Actually, I have quite a few for Sacralamea. I think I was going to go ahead with it, but I maybe just want to make sure that I've got, I have a plan. All right, an ingredient for a higher purpose. I suppose I could just make the dessert right now. And we will need actually, you know what? We'll use one of the ones down below. I believe we do need the spicing for that, so bake a pear pie, a dish with forge, grail, heart, and nectar. So in 5 seconds we will move up Great Signs and Great Scars. At that point we don't really need to keep talking with Denzel. I also forgot to check if Peter Ecdistis has any languages that we need. I believe we need Deep Mandaic. Now I know that Hokabald has that, but Hokabald requires Orpiment Exultant for us to invite him. So, Glazier and Lightsmithing. Break a window. What have you made? A way, a new light, a weapon. Natalia Brulot. So we'll take the Great Signs and the Great Scars. We'll add the Shapt. We will add the Lesson. So Pattern, Salt, Beguiling Melody, Stolen Secret, Curious Hunch, and Occult Scrap. When I thought I'd understood, I'd only begun. And then in 30 seconds, we'll start opening the various packages. As for Peter, we're going to need a heart text. So ideally a heart 4. He does a lot with silence, this man. Mr. Peter Ecdistis, musician, mystic, impresario. Ecdistis was a dancer once. One cannot see him without knowing it. The wound in his thigh keeps him from the stage, but his every movement still has the cadence of a prayer. How do you do, librarian? I crave your assistance. So we are taking care of the affair of the god in the wood. The Lytirian, a faddish health camp in the Black Forest, has attracted attention after many of its clients seem to have developed sudden, sometimes upsetting artistic abilities. on the God in the Wood. I have heard of this venture in Germany, where the customers go in as bankers and come out as painters. I am not interested in bankers or in painting usually, but this... Lyterios is the god Pan, his aspect as deliverer. Why then Lyterian? Advertising or religion? Some would say there is no distinction. I would like to know more. Okay, so Apollo and Marsyas would be the obvious answer here. Also kind of fits with the theme. I had read that honey is a part of the diet they offer in this place. I think now I understand the significance of this. Perhaps I will try it myself. Thank you, librarian. Unexpected finds in the folds of earth and sky. Now, the granite slab I've never really found much use for. Long, cold volcano blood. I'm trying to remember where I kept these. Okay, and a driftwood fragment. These are curiously helpful in some cases. But again, storage is sometimes a little bit of a challenge. Oh, there's the apples I was looking for. Okay, so we'll keep going with the plan. We'll use the tryst with the wolf stories to keep inspecting Crowcross Sands. And the Faust and the Wisp will be our parcel openers. And I know I'm at time. I'm going to try... I don't know if I can push to the end of the day, but I at least want to push to open up the... or to use up my remaining elements of the soul. The skill is now level 7. Its power aspects have also increased. Okay, so we'll open up these... Let's open up the box of rarities first. Something small and rare.